coming up on Focal Point. Vice President Mike Pence doesn't need directions when he visits Grand Rapids.
The road to victory runs right through Michigan.
Door knocking and campaign rallies were two of the biggest things candidates on the ballot would do every election season. Coming up, I'll tell you how they've adjusted their campaign efforts during a global pandemic.
Coming up, I'll tell you about this little bookshop that was forced to close for 2 months until the employees hatched a $27,000 idea.
Focal Point starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Michaela Temple. The election is less than 3 weeks away, and the president and vice president are crisscrossing the country campaigning. Mike Pence visited Michigan on Wednesday, and Sam Britton was there to give us more coverage.
As we get closer and closer to Election Day, Mike Pence made a stop in Grand Rapids to get Donald Trump supporters fired up.
I am definitely a Trump supporter. Pence is one of my favorite people.
I'm a big, passionate fan for Donald Trump. When I see Pence or Trump's coming to Grand Rapids, that gets me super riled up.
Please join me in giving a warm West Michigan welcome to our Vice President, Mr. Mike Pence.
On a cloudy afternoon in Grand Rapids, no one had to give the vice president directions because he knows
The road to victory runs right through Michigan.
the Make America Great Again supporters and volunteers gathered at Lax Enterprises.
We're volunteering for Trump here. They have us doing wristbands.
I mean, we're just helping out, setting up chairs and everything like that.
Get that back.
It was billed as a rally. A few hundred people came here to listen to Pence talk about
The economy, the strength in our economy.
The automotive industry is roaring back in America.
My big thing, I don't know if the camera can see this, but law enforcement.
We're going to back the blue. We're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever.
I'd hope that he talks a little bit more on some of the points he brought up in the previous vice presidential candidate debate.
We got a little debate out there between me and Joe Biden's running mate. Some people think we did okay.
the vice president knows he needs Michigan.
I need you to vote, Michigan. Vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House.
After about an hour of talking, Pence took off.
We will make America great again. Again. Thank you all very much.
Donald Trump will make an appearance in West Michigan when he visits Muskegon on Saturday. In Grand Rapids, I'm Sam Britton.
After his visit in Grand Rapids on Wednesday, Pence held another rally in Florida yesterday and will be in North Carolina today. A new Supreme Court justice could be confirmed in the next few weeks. If the Senate gets its way, conservative Judge Amy Coney Barrett will fill the Senate seat left by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The liberal judge died last month. The Senate started confirmation hearings on Monday. Members of the Judiciary Committee asked Barrett questions about overturning the ACA and abortion rights. Barrett's confirmation hearings come less than 3 weeks before Election Day. 7 million ballots have already been cast. Democrats say any Supreme Court nomination should wait until after the election. That was also Ginsburg's last wish. A final confirmation vote is expected in about 2 weeks. Barrett will likely be confirmed along party lines and join the Supreme Court before the November election. That election is, of course, November 3rd. In a regular election year, your doorbell would be ringing with candidates and election volunteers. But that has changed too this time around. How are candidates campaigning in a pandemic?
With an election 2 weeks away, Will Tyler White would be going to events.
Like county fairs and candidate debate nights.
Brian Masalam meeting new people.
Being able to just talk one-on-one and in person has a different kind of effect.
And Tanya Shootmaker knocking.
I love doing doors.
But being in the middle of a pandemic has changed how candidates are campaigning this year, and door knocking just isn't happening anymore. Streets that would normally be filled with campaigners at election time are empty, but that doesn't mean campaigning isn't happening.
On social media,
I've been zooming, and zooming.
It's just happening in a safer way.
Busy doing kind of a lot of one-on-ones.
Whether digitally
We've been making calls, we've been zooming, we've sending text messages.
or by mail, candidates are adjusting to get their names out there.
I've never digitally advertised before.
Student organizations like the Michigan State College Republicans are also finding safe ways to show their support.
We're definitely maybe relying on phone calls, a bit more. I know with the Ingham County's health suggestions and protocols, we've, been especially sure that we are following those.
Meeting online can even be more efficient.
I could be in Algonac, I could be in the UP all on the same day.
And some candidates have seen an increase in the amount of people personally reaching out to ask questions.
Maybe about 10 people a day reach out to me and say, I'm considering voting for you, but here's my one question.
And even though this year has been unpredictable,
This pandemic has thrown a monkey wrench into the works.
those on the ballot are still optimistic
So believe that the glass is always half full, not half empty.
for the election.
It's been interesting, it's been fun.
Candidates will be campaigning virtually for a few more weeks. More information about each candidate on the ballot can be found on your county's website. COVID-19 has impacted local campaigning and continues to affect communities nationwide. Taylor Gattoni is live at the health desk to tell us how the pandemic is affecting Ingham County. Taylor, are there any updates on wearing masks?
Great question, Michaela. There's been some confusion about the Michigan Supreme Court's ruling. It says Governor Gretchen Whitmer overstepped her power by extending the state of emergency order. In Ingham County, wearing a mask is still required. After the Supreme Court made its decision, Ingham County Health Officer Linda Vale issued an emergency order requiring all businesses and residents to continue social distancing and wearing a face mask covering while in public. She hopes her order will keep things running as smoothly as possible.
Lots of confusion in the air, which is why orders were issued by us this weekend, because while that debate goes on, we need to make sure that our county is safe and protected.
Ingham County and East Lansing spiked with COVID cases as students moved back to town for the fall semester. MSU has its own plan to encourage students to wear a mask. Since September, MSU has been inviting students to become mask ambassadors. Students have been signing up online for 3 different mask designs. One features Zeke the Wonder Dog, another is white with state written across it, and a third option is a green tie-dye that says Spartan's Will. After being approved to be ambassadors, several Spartans from all generations have posted photos of themselves wearing their masks on social media.
It's so easy for people to get their family sick, and I know my grandma, if she got sick, I don't know how she'd do with that. So it's really important to keep everybody safe because there's other people that might not get through it.
If you want to be an ambassador, go to MSU's website and type Spartan mask in the search bar. People have been in and out of quarantine since early March. Ingham County Health Officer Linda Vale placed a mandatory 3-week quarantine order on over 30 buildings in East Lansing. And now that order has been lifted. Focal Point's Kayla Harris shows us what that experience was like.
The mandatory quarantine has come to a stop. More than 30 houses are now able to go back to their normal lives after being in quarantine for 3 weeks.
Either a case or an exposure. That was the criteria for quarantining them.
This is Gamma Phi Beta. It's where Serena Naylor and Elizabeth Daly went through an interesting quarantine experience.
Me and my roommate actually found out that we had COVID, so we got put into isolation.
Sororities and fraternities made up a large portion of houses in quarantine.
And I think it was frustrating that sororities were getting targeted more when I know a lot of people who live in apartments and houses who don't take as much precaution as we have.
That was not the case.
I did not target Greek life. I had a list of houses in front of me with addresses and what they were licensed for.
Not all of Greek life had to follow the mandatory quarantine. but they did have some concerns about those who did.
Definitely been really scary having other people that don't find it as much as a serious problem as we do.
Some houses like Sigma Pi decided to voluntary quarantine.
Just to keep not only our members safe, but if everybody else was already doing it, it seemed like the best time.
And that voluntary quarantine seemed to work.
Everybody had negative test results, so we were able to kind of keep ourselves COVID-free.
COVID cases have declined. In East Lansing, Kayla Harris, Focal Point News.
Vail says East Lansing has seen less cases since the quarantine. To get a more accurate picture of the spread of COVID in the area, the MSU College of Translational Neuroscience began creating the COVID-19 Early Detection Program in mid-March, a test that is simple, effective, and cost-efficient. You know it as Spartan Spit. Around Michigan State's campus, 6,100 people are currently enrolled in the Early Detection Program, a program where enrolled students, faculty, and staff can pick up a spit kit test. It's 5 simple steps. Spit into a large test tube, use a pipette to transfer saliva into the small tube and shake it up. Put it in the biohazard bag, put the tubes back into the box, and drop it off at one of the 12 sites around campus.
I think the main goal is to give an alternative to having to stay in line to try to get a nasal swab. Also, we know that you can't always get a nasal swab if you don't have symptoms. And part of us is also looking and surveilling the population for any cases of asymptomatic or any asymptomatic cases.
To find out more about the early detection program, go to humanmedicine.msu.edu and help stop the spread. As of yesterday, there are over 1,800 new positive COVID cases in Michigan. That's all for health news this week. I'm Taylor Gattoni. Back to you, Michaela.
Thanks, Taylor. Because of the pandemic, most Michigan State freshmen aren't starting college in a dorm. In fact, most are starting their college career at home. Connor Smithy has the story.
Campus is empty. Well, mostly empty.
I was a little heartbroken at first, but I can't say I didn't see it coming.
Ben Adams is one of less than 2,000 students living on campus this semester.
But I was anxious, was I going to be able to go to campus?
A far cry from the 14,000 students that normally call campus home.
So I've been able to meet a lot of people on Zoom and in person, and that's kind of kept me going.
Most students weren't so lucky. Most of the freshmen who would have been living and learning here are now living and learning online.
I was frustrated, but also not surprised.
But I just thought there was too much of a risk and uncertainty to plan on going this semester.
Dana Olson and Rohit Paul are 2 of the thousands of MSU freshmen learning from home.
I definitely thought it was gonna be just for first semester.
Making new friends has been difficult for these students in a virtual environment.
It's alright. I think it's the best you can get.
And neither one is optimistic about the idea of an online spring semester.
If it continues, I'll start to feel more and more like I want to be on campus and that I might want to be somewhere else.
Unless things change for spring, thousands of students will continue to learn online. In East Lansing, I'm Connor Smithy, Focal Point News.
We don't know yet if more students will be allowed to live on campus this spring. You've heard how the MSU community is coming together to combat coronavirus. When we come back, hear how an MSU club fights for another cause. We'll also take a look at this week's weather and visit some local businesses that are up and running for fall despite the pandemic. All this and more coming up on Focal Point.
Recently, I collaborated with a graduate student to create the first sensory-friendly Spartan chamber music concert. The performance is tailored for anyone with sensory sensitivities. For many kids, this may be their first experience in a concert hall, and we want to make it an unforgettable experience. And I think that's what we've done. My name is Tasha Warren, and I am a Spartan.
Welcome back to Focal Point. A new club at Michigan State University hopes to make a difference with students. It's called the Students Standing with Survivors, and it hopes to do just that by connecting survivor services and the student body. The group is also working with the MSU Center for Survivors and MSU Safe Place.
We need to get away from that, where you can go out for a walk on campus without being scared that someone's going to follow you, or feel like you need to be looking over your shoulder, getting catcalled, things like that. So just kind of by working with the students directly, we'd be able to change those kinds of things on campus and educate them as to why that's not what they should be doing.
MSU's Students Standing with Survivors Club uses social media to share content, including 24-hour helplines. Their next meeting is on October 19th at 7 p.m. It's time to look at weather, and Connor Smithy joins us in the studio. Connor, we have a football coming up next weekend, and Halloween is right around the corner. Are we going to see any more of that 70-degree weather?
It doesn't look like it. We're definitely in those fall temperatures, at least here in the Midwest. We're going to look at the rest of the map right now. We can see temperatures much warmer across the United States. 100 in Phoenix, 100 in Los Angeles. The entire West Coast is pretty warm. Looking down through the Rocky Mountains, Montana into Texas, we can see temperatures in the 60s and 70s. East Coast is also pretty warm. We got 73 in Boston, 68 in New York, going all the way down. We got 90 in Orlando, Miami, 86 degrees. And if we take a look at the Midwest, we can see the Midwest is a heck of a lot warmer, or a heck of a lot cooler, than the rest of the United States. We got 54 in Grand Rapids, 56 in Detroit, a bit colder when we get out farther west towards Duluth and Minneapolis. But let's see what things are looking like in Michigan right now. Temperatures in East Lansing, 48 degrees, 50 degrees in Grand Rapids, Detroit 46, Mount Pleasant 43 degrees, sunny in Detroit. Let's look at our forecast for the rest of the week here in East Lansing, though. We can see temperatures are going to be pretty much in the 50s, maybe the high 40s throughout most of the week. We are going to warm up towards the middle end of the week, 59 on Thursday. We do have a lot of rain coming. We can expect rain pretty much Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if you're looking to get outside, this weekend's going to be your day. We have those nice 50 temperatures and partly cloudy skies. So hope you're having something fun this weekend, Michaela, because we got a lot of rain coming.
I might just have to go and visit the cider mill and get some of that cider and donuts and pick out my pumpkins before the rain comes in and the temperatures get too cold. So thank you, Connor. For anyone else who might be looking to get out this weekend, several businesses in the area are open just in time for Halloween. Jordan Phillips is live in the Spartan newsroom. He's going to tell us which places will be open for business in the coming weeks and ways they are trying to stay safe. Jordan?
Thank you, Michaela. Bars are opening back up after Michigan Supreme Court ruled that Governor Gretchen Whitmer's COVID-19 orders were unconstitutional. Rick's American Cafe opened its doors Wednesday night, but they're doing things different this time around. No lines allowed. East Lansing bars are using an app called Line Leap, which allows guests to reserve an arrival time for the night. All reservations for Rick's reopening night were sold out in 3 minutes. The bar hasn't been open since March.
I'm very excited to see what's going on with Rick's. It's been over like 8 months since I've been here, and I can't wait.
Rick's is just one of 4 bars in East Lansing who use the app Line Leap. Lou and Harry's, Fieldhouse, and the Riv also use the app, hoping to help social distancing. Now, some people aren't ready for bar hopping yet or gathering indoors. We sent Jacob Lothamer north on US 127 to St. John's. He's live at Uncle John's Cider Mill to see how they're trying to stay healthy while staying open this fall. Jacob, is it busy out there?
Yeah, Jordan. People are here trying to get their hands on some donuts and cider. Uncle John's has been a fan favorite for students and families in the Lansing area, but this year they're doing a few things a little bit different. It's tradition here, getting a pumpkin at Uncle John's Cider Mill.
Everybody seemed very happy. There's just a very calm vibe here.
Even in a year where everything seems different.
We've really kind of gone back to the basics of a lot of things that, were the foundation of what this farm was built on.
Uncle John's is trying to keep tradition alive.
Like the faces that are usually carved into these pumpkins, the workers here at Uncle John's are just happy to see another happy face, even if it's behind a mask.
Just makes my heart happy when I see people sitting along the hillside and walking around the orchards and just being outside with their family and friends, and just it's been nice to see.
Dee Dee Beck owns, runs, and works at Uncle John's, one of the most popular cider mills in Michigan. She says there have been changes this year due to the pandemic.
Some things that we have limited this year, though, are unable to offer are things like our jumping pillow and the inflatables. We've also chosen not to do wagon rides and hay rides. We don't feel we can responsibly distance people.
The kettle corn hasn't changed. Dave of Kate's Kettle Corn is grateful to be here.
Been fantastic so far. All of our other events through the whole season have been canceled. We had parades and festivals and things that we were doing. So.
Dave Hansen and his wife Kate own the kettle corn business together.
This is the first thing a few weeks ago that opened up, and it's just been phenomenal business with everybody out and about doing things.
Whether it's corn you eat or corn you get lost in.
But it's just been unbelievable to kind of finish up our year this way with such a nice, robust amount of business in the fall.
For visitors, a trip to Uncle John's is a tradition. It's just a little different this year. Uncle John's is keeping the same hours as years past. They are open every single day from 9 p.m. till 7 p.m. But the food trucks and the cider stations are only available Friday through Sunday. Live in St. John's, Michigan, I'm Jacob Lothmer, Focal Point News. Jordan, back to you.
Looks like a lot of fun out there, Jacob. Farmers markets are another fall tradition for many people, and there is one within walking distance of MSU. Focal Point Sade Moore visited the East Lansing Farmers Market and spoke with vendors about how business is doing this year.
Fran is a regular at East Lansing Farmers Market, and the pandemic is not keeping her away.
I come to the market every week.
Although the pandemic has been a disruption for so many businesses, it's not the case here at East Lansing Farmers Market.
You know, I think that there was a lot of unknown and uncertainty at the beginning of the season when we were planning things out.
With guidance from the County Health Department and the Michigan Farmers Market Association, community members are able to buy and sell fresh produce and other goods.
That both put out a lot of guidance to support our interpretations of the executive orders and better practices for safety.
And if you don't have a taste for produce, something sweet might be just what you're looking for. Dave Feldposh, who created Dave's Pops, says the pandemic has taken a toll on his business, especially with the festival circuit shut down.
The pandemic has hurt in that all the big festivals I did and outdoor events, those were all canceled.
Despite the pandemic, vendors like Dave say this has been a pretty good summer.
Per event this year, my sales are up.
In East Lansing, I'm Sade Moore, Focal Point News.
East Lansing's Farmers Market will run until October 25th, every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Well, that's all I have for now, but Focal Point will keep you updated as businesses open and adapt. Michaela, back to you.
Thanks, Jordan. The first football game of the season is next week, and the stands will be packed, but their voices may sound a little flat. After the break, we'll tell you about some unusual spectators that will be at the game. We'll also have a look at This Week in Entertainment and go to a bookstore where the story is continuing thanks to the generosity of the community. Stay with us.
I love watching people's faces when I say I play tennis. Growing up with cerebral palsy, playing sports seemed out of reach. But at MSU, I have no limits. From the first day I visited campus, I saw how accessible MSU is. Now I teach adaptive sports classes, so others can push their limits, just like me. My name is Piotr Pasik, and I am a Spartan.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Michaela Temple. While some teams and universities are allowing fans at limited capacity in stadiums, the rest of the country is cutting out their fans and keeping things two-dimensional. Cardboard cutouts are making their way to East Lansing for football season. There are a few ways that you can see yourself or favorite pet in Spartan Stadium. You can pay $75 for a sideline or end zone cutout, $55 for season ticket owners, or $50 for students. Then there will be a special section for Spartan Juniors and Spartan Pets for $25. From two-dimensional fans in the stands to three-dimensional fans on the couch, you can watch Michigan State football on TV October 24th at noon against Rutgers at Spartan Stadium. They say a dog is a man's best friend. Well, studies also show that pet owners are less likely to experience depression. Pets can ease anxiety, and playing with your pet can increase levels of dopamine and serotonin. The pandemic has been tough. This may be the ideal time to give a four-legged friend a forever home. Most of us have been spending a lot more time at home. We've been forced to change in many ways. Studies show more people are suffering from depression, but adopting a pet may be the best medicine. Here's the good news. The Capital Area Humane Society has seen an increase in adoptions. The Humane Society's Penny Myers knows animals are being saved. She also knows those pets are saving their new owners too.
Research proves that they can lower blood pressure and they can really help people who have difficulties, and go through times of depression and stuff. It's proven. And, especially right now during this time, it is. It's kind of a sad time.
If you're not quite ready to adopt, you can look into becoming a foster parent to an animal in need. You can check out Capital Area Humane Society's website, adoptlansing.org, to learn how to foster. A dog or a cat or a goldfish can give you hours of entertainment. But if you'd rather watch a screen instead of a fish tank, we've got you covered. Lexi Ayala is here with entertainment.
Yes, I am, Michaela. And there's exciting news for the Bachelor Nation this week. As Chris Harrison would say, this could be the most dramatic season ever. After filming for The Bachelorette, which stopped in March and resumed in July, Bachelorette Claire Crowley's search for love has been far from normal, even by reality TV standards. With extra care taken because of COVID, season 16 will be nothing like we've ever seen before, but not just because of the virus. Claire Crowley supposedly quit the show 3 weeks into filming and will be replaced by someone new. To see what's happening during the rest of Claire's time on the show, you can watch The Bachelorette Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on ABC. But what's your favorite app? Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat? Did you ever think an app would fall into the category of entertainment? Well, a lot of people are watching TikTok. And they're watching a certain teenager. She has the attention of millions of people. TikTok is addicting. If you've ever opened the app, you know that it's full of dances, cooking demos, and silly jokes. It's everything you need to know in 60 seconds or less. But now, a teenager is actually breaking news with it. 15-year-old Claudia Conway apparently has the inside scoop to the White House. That's suspicious. She's the daughter of Kelly Ann Conway, former advisor to the president. In Claudia's TikToks, she tells her viewers that her mother might be sick with the virus, and she was right. In another video, she blames her mother for giving coronavirus to her. Claudia is quickly becoming one of the most popular TikTok creators.
Why is the media so obsessed with everything a 15-year-old girl has to say?
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
President Trump has tried to ban TikTok in the United States and has also tried to take it off the App Store. But as of today, 60 million Americans use the app every day. If you want to follow Claudia's videos for yourself, you can find her at Claudia M. Conway on TikTok. That's all I have for entertainment this week. I'm Alexis Ayala. Michaela, back to you.
Thank you, Lexi. To close out our show today, Joe Freihofer is at a shop on Grand River, one you probably walk right past every day. Joe, this place has been around for a while, even during a pandemic. Can you tell us of this curious business?
Yeah, Michaela, it seems like every day there's a new giant apartment complex or even a new restaurant like Snap Pizza here to my right going in on Grand River. But through it all, this little sliver of a brick storefront, the Curious Bookshop, has survived it all. And they've even got a couple of books on sale this morning for just 50 cents and $1. But back in March, this little shop story nearly came to an early ending.
I never know from one day to the next what I'm going to be coming across.
Life these days is filled with uncertainty.
Talking about yesterday or tomorrow.
But if you're Ray Walsh,
started selling books when I was a student at Michigan State.
You're used to it.
And kept on doing it for a while. That's, I guess, 50 years.
For 50 years.
I wasn't really planning on doing it, but it's been an interesting way to make a living.
Doing this, running the Curious Bookshop, a sliver of a storefront in downtown East Lansing. Over the years, he's given the shop some unique decor.
I still find things every day that are unsettling or humorous or, you know, just penetrating in general, you know.
He's 70. It was never a part of the plan to slow down.
I'm planning on living another 30 years anyhow, but then I'll be 100 and it'll probably be time to retire.
Nothing could end this bookshop story.
Are you all set?
Yep.
Except a global pandemic.
It's scary and strange times, and we really don't know what to expect.
Well, obviously the concern of will we make it goes through your head.
COVID-19 forced the shop to close for 2 months, but Ray's employees didn't want a chapter like this to end the shop's story. So they started a GoFundMe and raised over $27,000.
Without it, we really would not have been able to survive.
It was really just like a bottom-up sort of like, let's try to do this thing.
Yep, thanks for stopping by.
But it's about more than just saving the shop. It's about saving the moments with the people.
I'm missing a lot of familiar faces, some who have passed away, some who moved.
The experiences.
You won't come across a dusty paperback that'll, you know, just bring you back someplace. And that's why, you know, we got to keep these places here.
That give each turn of life's pages its meaning.
Thank you. Have a good one. You too.
Now, Michaela, Walsh is still completely blown away by the overall amount of community response, and he hopes that the funds that they have now, combined with their online sales, will carry them through any difficult times that may come in the near future. And as for Walsh, like he said, there's not really much of a retirement plan for him. At age 70, he continues to work for another 30 years. Here live outside the Curious Bookshop on Grand River, I'm Joe Fryhofer. Michaela?
What a great story. Thank you, Joe. That's all for this episode, but Focal Point will be right here next week. I'm Michaela Temple. Thank you for watching and have a safe weekend.